Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the personality traits that obese people share. There is actually science to the idea that there is a fat personality. So we're going to be looking at that coming right up. Stay tuned. So I thought I would just talk to you for a minute about how I got the idea that there might even be a fat personality. And what happened was I was doing a consultation with a potential client who was obese and considering bariatric surgery and trying to weigh her other options before she went down that road. And in talking with her, I got this sense that I had known her before. And I don't mean in another life or personally, but I just mean I've worked with so many clients over the years who are obese, who shared her kind of personality traits. And so I began doing some research, and sure enough, there have been several studies done on personality traits that obese people share, and I'm going to cover several of them today in this video with you. So here we go. Let's look at some of the personality traits shared by people who happen to be obese. And here they are. One trait shared by many people who are obese is neuroticism. Neuroticism. So what is neuroticism? Well, it's not in the diagnostic statistical manual. It's not a personality disorder, but more like personality trait that is known by being very emotional, being very highly and easily aroused, easily triggered, a tendency to depression, anxiety, and negative emotions in general that feel out of control. So we'd call that neuroticism. People who are obese tend to be quite high in neuroticism, and it makes sense that they might turn to food or a substance in general to soothe that anxiety and quell some of those negative feelings and thoughts. So if you're high in neuroticism and you happen to be obese, there could be a correlation between that trait and your weight. And so we're going to be looking at, in further videos, how to deal with these things and so that they don't have to dictate your weight. But today, we're just going to go over what those traits are. So that's trait number 1, and that's neuroticism. Coming up, trait number 2. The trait number 2 is low in conscientiousness. So what is that? You know, on a scale of conscientiousness, what does that mean? Conscientiousness means that you have a need to follow the rules. You have a need to go by the book. And people who are low in conscientiousness tend to be impulsive. They tend to not necessarily follow the rules, maybe skirt things here and there. So if you're low in conscientiousness, it can lead to impulsive behavior. And impulsive eating, impulsive buying, impulsive behavior in general can lead one to be obese. So let's talk about impulse food buying for a minute. So once at Starbucks, and I went there for just a black coffee, and so I'm there at the register, and I was kind of hungry, like a little bit on the verge of, getting hungry. And they had these little Madeline cookies, Madeline cookies. They were 2 in a package wrapped right by the register, ready to buy, ready to go. And so I decided, well, I'm going to have them. I knew how many calories I could afford them. Fine, good. So I buy the Madeleines, and do you want the receipt? Yeah, sure. So I get the receipt, and right there on the receipt, it said impulse food. That's how it defined my Madeleines. Impulse food. It's like, oh, wow. Yeah, they put food right by the register at the market, at Starbucks, wherever you go to pay for things that you might grab impulsively. So if you're high on impulsivity, low on conscientiousness, you're going to have a lot of trouble with self-control. And in order to be thin and keep weight off, it requires pretty good self-control muscle. Yeah, so if you've been low on conscientiousness, high on impulsivity, it's quite possible that you're also obese and those traits are tied. And there's something to be done about those things, and we'll cover those in further videos. So like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss that when we cover how to deal with a low conscientiousness situation and your weight. Well, coming up is shared trait number 3. So shared trait number 3 is low on agreeableness. Low on agreeableness, or antagonistic toward other people, a little bit aggressive, sometimes passive aggressive is what I see. So what does this mean? I'll give you an example with this concept, for example. All right, so the potential client is saying, you know, I've been trying this and I've been trying that. No matter what I do, I just can't seem to move forward. So I say something like, well, it sounds like you're really feeling stuck. And this person says, well, no. And then they go on as to why they don't really feel stuck, even though they've just described that they're stuck. Disagreeable, antagonistic, that kind of personality tends to be obese. So isn't that interesting? And you know, why and how to work with that we'll be covering later. But if you're a little bit disagreeable, yeah, it could be part of the obesity situation if you're dealing with that. All right, next up, our last personality trait. And the last trait we're going to cover today is that obese people tend to be low on being open to new experience, or risk averse, or they tend to stay in their comfort level and don't have a good deal of inner strength to break out of it. So, and that makes a lot of sense. If you're kind of risk averse, you don't want to change, you don't want to do things differently, change your food, change your diet, change your exercise, change how you look, how you dress, you know, that kind of thing. It can be difficult to change at all if you're pretty high in being risk averse. So if you are also high in this, if you like your comfort and it's hard for you to break out of that, that personality trait might be part of why you are overweight or obese. So coming up, we'll talk more about in other videos about how to deal with these traits and how to not let them make you be obese. So in this video, we covered several personality traits that science says is shared by people who happen to be obese. And just to run them down for you right now, one is being high in neuroticism. We talked about what that is in the video. 2 is being low in conscientiousness. We talked about that as well. 3, low on agreeableness, or somewhat antagonistic, aggressive, passive aggressive. And 4, low on being open to new experience or highly risk averse. So these are the 4 characteristics of people who are obese that we covered, and in further videos coming up, we'll be talking about how to deal with those so that they don't have to make you fat. So please like if this helped you in any way, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when I post these new videos, and good luck on your weight loss journey.